Hello, good afternoon. Welcome back to European Higher Education Fair Indonesia 2020 Goes Online. This is Institution Webinar Series. My name is Lukman and I'm going to be a moderator for today. This webinar is going to be presented by KTH Vetenskap och Konst from Sweden. Please stay tuned until the end of this webinar because we will have a Q&A session. And if you have any questions about the presentation or anything related to KTH, you can submit your question on our YouTube's comment section anytime throughout the presentation. And now we'll have the representation. You may start. The time is yours.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much. And good afternoon, everybody. And welcome to this seminar. My name is Bjorn Berggren, and I'm actually a professor at the Royal Institute of Technology in Stockholm. And I'm also regional director for Southeast Asia. And with me today, I have a fantastic, dynamic, young student, Ivan. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hello everyone. Good morning from Stockholm and good afternoon to Indonesia. My name is Ivan and I'm one of master students at KTH. Thank you for introducing me, Bjorn.
Okay, and again, welcome. During this session or webinar, we would like you to get a short introduction to Sweden and what it's like in comparison with Indonesia, for instance. We would also like you to introduce you to Stockholm, my hometown, and also the university, KTH, the Royal Institute of Technology, which is where both me and Ivan tend to spend our days. Well, not now, obviously, owing to COVID, but what we tend to spend our days. And if you have any questions, please let us know through the chat or say them to the Q&A session. Okay, this is actually the City Hall, the interior of the City Hall. And this is where you will get your diploma after graduating your master program at KTH. And this is also the place where all the Nobel Prize winners will be awarded the money, of course, but also the diploma. So this is a fantastic place in Stockholm. There are numerous reasons why I think you should pursue a master thesis at KTH or in Stockholm, but this will be my top 3 reasons then. You will get a master's degree in education, which is a very high standards. KTH has been sort of consistently been ranked top 100 in the world for quite some time. And during your education, our idea is to infuse students with an entrepreneurial mindset, to be fantastic problem solvers and have a way of thinking that is very innovative. And we do hope that you will see Stockholm as your new home. This is actually one of the most livable, safest and friendliest, I'm not sure what you think, Ivan, friendliest cities and easy to go around cities in the world. But
Yeah,
that is,
I agree.
You agree? Fantastic.
I agree.
Okay, so Sweden, short introduction. What is Sweden all about? Well, it's a very high trust society, and I've been working a lot in international education. I think this is one thing that sets Sweden apart from the other countries. We tend to trust each other. And we have a very long tradition of trade and also integration of people and students from other parts of the world. Nowadays, roughly 20% of all people living in Sweden are actually born in another country. Sweden has also a long tradition of manufacturing and internationalization of our companies. And I would imagine that a lot of the companies that you know, IKEA, for instance, favorite brand among students or middle-income people, is Swedish. Ericsson, the mobile phone maker, H&M, clothing, Saab, Volvo, Electrolux, pretty much household names from the old economy. And perhaps nowadays you're using Skype, Spotify, or my favorite, Minecraft or Candy Crush. These are also Swedish companies that are going abroad. So it's a long tradition of internationalization, I would say. Sweden, what else? Well, it's a big country. I'm not sure whether you've been here or not, but it's big. one of the largest in Europe, actually. Only Spain and France is actually bigger. But there are not too many Swedes living here, actually. We're 10 million people, which dwarfs it in comparison with Indonesia, of course. So there's a lot of space. And especially if you go up north, you can spend a day without seeing anybody else. You might encounter a reindeer or something like that.
That's true, Bjorn.
It's true. And Ivan, we do have 4 distinct seasons, right? Which one is your favorite?
The most favorite season for me is spring.
Spring?
Because it's not that hot and it's not that cold either.
Okay.
So it's just like the perfect weather for me.
Okay. I would say autumn is my favorite because I'm older than you with all the colors and you can pick mushrooms or lingonberries or blueberries. But we have 4 very distinct seasons, and obviously now winter is coming and winter is cold in Sweden. So in Stockholm we tend to have -5 or even 1 to -25 sometimes. So if you're coming, bring a fur cap. That would be my advice. And I would say it's quite easy to get around. Most Swedes speak English. We do have a very well-functioning sort of public transportation system as well. And as you can see, this is the Aurora Borealis, or the Northern Light, which you can actually see all the way down to Stockholm if you're lucky. And most are quite friendly. And it's a kind of progressive society, I would say. It's clean. It's very clean. And it's very transparent and reasonably non-corrupt, I would say. And it's one of the most sort of, when it comes to gender equality, more progressive societies in the world, actually. So you would say it's easy to get around here, Ivan, or have you traveled a lot in Sweden?
Yeah, before Corona times, I traveled a lot in Sweden. And it's really easy to travel around, and the transportation is also very advanced. And yeah, it's very comfortable.
Yep, and it's safe.
Yeah.
And back to Stockholm. This is also a venue of the city hall to your left there, with the Nobel Prize winners, and we've had a lot of academic ceremonies as well. And as you can see, Stockholm is built upon water, on islands actually, a mix of fresh water and salt water from the sea. So it's nudged in between the sea and the lakes here. So this is the capital of Sweden. And here you will find all the headquarters of multinational companies and a lot of, or quite a few universities. So this is the heart of everything that goes on within Sweden. So roughly 2.2 million live in the greater Stockholm area, I would say. And it's quite old city. It was actually founded close to 800 years back, actually by Germans, what have you not. And it's also the home of the best teams, if you like sports. I mean, there's sports events every day here. My favorite being football and ice hockey. What is your favorite sport, Ivan, if you have any?
Swimming and running. Swimming
and running. Okay. But you can do a lot of things here, obviously pre-COVID times.
Exactly.
But as I said, it's also built on islands. So it's actually 14 islands. And outside of Stockholm, we have the Great Archipelago, which continues for a number of miles. And it's ranked top 10 of the livable cities in the world when it comes to quality of life. And it's one of the safest cities in the world, actually. As I said, clean air, clean water. If you go in the city center, you can actually drink from the water. I haven't tried it myself, but I'm told it's safe. And during the summertime, it's quite common that you take a ferry to the outer archipelago to get some swimming and everything. And when it comes to living standards and budgets, I mean, that is a major concern, obviously, for all students. You are guaranteed, we do have a housing shortage in Stockholm, but as an international student, you are guaranteed housing for the first year. We have designated student sort of areas where you can live. And what does it cost? Ivan, is that reasonable figures for a budget, including housing, food, everything, insurance?
I think the number you have showing us now is really reasonable.
Okay.
And again, the number is not absolute, it's relative. It depends on every individual.
Yeah.
For me, it's very reasonable.
Yeah. And if you don't make ends meet, I would say it's quite common that students take a part-time job, for instance. Could be working as a teaching assistant or something similar to that. But roughly $1,000 per month will cover you most of, obviously housing is one of the biggest expenses that you have as a student. Okay, and this is our home, Ivan, KTH,
Yay.
Royal Institute of Technology. And this is from the courtyard. As you can see, it's kind of Hogwarts style to it. It was built 100 years back when in close conjunction to the Olympic Games were actually held in Sweden. So this is the courtyard where students have a coffee. There might be concerts during the evenings, classical music. So this is the old KTH. And this is the leading technical university in Sweden as of today. And I will take you on some more information. This is the king that we have today, King Carl XVI Gustav, who is the patron and the guardian of the university. And I would say that since its inception, almost 200 years back, a lot of innovation that has taken place in Sweden has taken place within KTH. In the early 1950s, actually, we had the first nuclear reactor, believe it or not, was actually built on campus 40 meters below where my office is today, until somebody realized it was a really bad idea to have a nuclear power plant in the middle of the capital if something went bad. So that has been dismantled. And nowadays we tend to have concerts and parties and stuff instead. So it's a fantastic place to visit. The first TV was actually, or broadcasted actually also from campus in the 50s. So from its inception, I would say it's become one of the most leading, or one of the leading technical universities in Europe, and attracting talent and students from all over the world. It's not the biggest university, I would say, roughly 13,000 students, about 2,000 doctoral students, 300 professors, which is good, I think, and 5,000 staff. So we have a lot of staff and teachers per student in comparison with most other universities. So as a student, you get to spend a lot of time with your teachers or supervisors, which I think separates it from most other universities. We also have had one Nobel Prize winners. That was 50 years back in physics. I'm not very good at physics, but it was something very brilliant that guy came up with. And then you have a picture of the library, which has traditionally been the meeting point for students. Nowadays, Ivan, I think most books have actually been shipped away. So now it's more like virtual, and we have more study rooms instead at the library. Do you spend some time there, Ivan?
I mean, before Corona, I spent most of my times there in the library. I considered library as my second home.
Yeah, okay. And this is actually an image from above of KTH and what's happening. And in the middle, you can see the courtyard. This is the old KTH and the library. And as you can see, there are public transportations all the way up to the front of KTH. So wherever you are in the city, it's very easy to get there. We do have our own sports center. We do have a lot of accommodation on campus that has been newly built. And depending on what you are interested in, we do have a number of campuses all around Stockholm. We have KTH Kista, which is on the north of the city. This is the meeting point for a lot of MNCs, such as Microsoft, etc. So it's the ICT cluster of Stockholm. On the south, in Södertälje and Flemingsberg, we have health, life sciences, and also logistics and manufacturing. And KTH Solna is also on ICT. So we have different parts of the city or campuses depending on what your major topic is, what your program is. And quite close, we also have the Royal National Park. We do have plus, I think we have 26 different parks in Stockholm. So it's a big city, but it's a green city in a way. So Ivan, do you take a stroll in the national park?
Yeah, yes, very often, because I live in Lapis, the most popular student accommodation in Stockholm, I would say. And Lapis is located right next to Royal National Park. In the picture, you can see actually building of Lapis just above Royal National Park.
And also besides the Royal National Park, we have the Stockholm University, which is quite close.
Yes.
So they're growing together. And what's happening then at KTH? Well, a lot of things. A couple of years back, Barack Obama visited our university and was introduced to some of the research on renewable energy and batteries. And as I said previously, consistently top 100 in the QS World Ranking. And we all have some sort of schools and departments that are sort of even higher ranked. I'm with the School of Architecture and Built Environment. We've been top 25. We have material science, mechanical and electrical engineering, which is also ranked top 30 in the world. So even though we're small, we're leading at our respective fields. And to the right, also Stephen Hawking. I actually met with Stephen Hawking. I wouldn't say met with Stephen Hawking. I saw him. That would probably be more correct. But I was so starstruck, so I didn't dare to approach him. So we do have a lot of people or important people visiting KTH. Stephen Hawking visited on a conference of black hole theory, actually. So pretty cool stuff. The structure of our programs is in compliance with the rest of Europe, I would say. We start with a bachelor degree for 3 years. That will be all taught in Swedish. I think we have one bachelor degree program that is taught in English in ICT. And then we have 2 years of master's degree programs. And that is what you're aiming for, I think. And that's where we all have the exchange students from all over the world. And most of the programs are structured in the same way. You start with 3 semesters of coursework, depending, some are mandatory, but most are, you can choose from a number of different courses or a list depending on your particular interest. And during the final semester, you will do your project work, most often 2 and 2, but you can do it alone. So this is much in line with the rest of Europe when it comes to the structure. And if you haven't got enough, such as Ivan, you can continue with a doctoral degree as well. Will you do that, Ivan?
I would see myself doing doctoral programs in the future.
Yeah, and that's 4 years in Sweden, actually. So it's 1 year longer than in Germany or in the US, for instance. And what do we teach? Well, we have quite a few programs. We are organized into 5 distinct schools. I will come back to that shortly. And we have 60 programs. 25% or 15 of them are actually joint programs. And these are programs that we do in collaboration with other very prominent universities that you spend some time abroad as well as in Stockholm. And what kind of programs do we have? First out is my school. It's called the Architecture and the Built Environment. We offer, today I'm with the Real Estate and Construction Management program. Obviously, we have a housing shortage in Stockholm. But we also have programs on urban planning, transportation, which is a really big thing in most urban areas today. And also architecture, of course. So these are our programs focusing on the city planning, etc. And then this is your school, right, Ivan?
Exactly. And my program, Media Management, is within the school.
Yep. And also we have from the very small, such as nanotechnology, to the very big, nuclear energy. But also some ICT innovation programs. And obviously, nowadays, a lot of things is happening around the cloud and cloud computing, etc. And then we have the School of Engineering or Engineering Science. And here we actually some really interesting programs in building. Railway engineering, for instance, is a really big thing in a lot of the countries in Southeast Asia. But we also have a long tradition of manufacturing and building in Sweden. That has been the backbone of the Swedish economy, such as vehicle engineering or naval architecture and aerospace. We have one astronaut in Sweden that has been in space, and he's actually program director for one of these companies. And then we have a new school, science and chemistry, biotech and health. So everything from chemistry, such as polymer chemistry, and biotechnology, which is an area where we have a lot of startups in Sweden as well. So this is also quite a few extremely popular programs. And sports technology, what do you know? And then we have the School of Industrial Engineering and Management. And this, we have some of the most sought after programs at our university. Industrial Management, which is a combination of business studies and engineering sciences. And we also have a number of joint programs with other universities, but also product engineering, for instance, and product management belongs to these schools. So we have, as I said, 60 different programs within 5 different schools. And if you'd like to know more about these programs, I mean, please visit our homepage or just drop us an email, because I haven't had enough time sort of presenting all of them. But then teaching and education in Sweden, and especially KTH, is somewhat different, I would say, than in other places or universities. I think that one of the major differences, if you agree with me, Ivan, is that you spend a lot of time in class in a way. There's a lot of lectures and seminars.
Correct.
How many hours a week do you typically spend in school with lectures and seminars?
In the first semester, I would say it was kind of 16 hours a week.
Mm-hmm.
I spent most of my times in lectures and seminars.
Yeah.
But now, because I'm now in second year,
yep.
So most of courses are only projects, so I don't have to come to the university every day.
No, but what we do have a lot of teaching going on. And as you
Yes.
said, especially in the first year, there's a lot, I mean, lectures is a traditional way of doing it. But also that the classes tend to be smaller, depending on your interest and program. But what a typical program might hold 100 students. And then you have specialization within the program. So each and every class might be 30 to 60 students. We focus a lot of teamwork, actually. We tend to, maybe we do have individual exams, for instance, but a lot of the work that you're doing, preparing projects and what have you not, you tend to do that within teams. We also have a lot of strategic partnerships with big companies. So when you're finalizing your degree project, it's quite common to do that in collaboration with a private business. And also we try to strive for sort of personal approach, that you spend time with your teacher or supervisor for quite some time. So it's kind of hands-on, but where you'll be meeting your teacher quite a lot, I would say. Hey, Ivan.
Yay. So it's...
You want a bike? I can see that.
All right, now it's time for me to say something about my student's life here in Stockholm. But first, again, my name is Ivan, and I'm currently second year student in media management at KTH, and this program belongs to the School of Electrical Engineering and Computer Science. And I got the funding from Swedish Institute for 2 years. So in this opportunity, I want to share with you my experience so far here. And I've chosen several pictures that I believe still won't be enough to tell, because there are so many interesting stories I would love to share actually. So the first picture on the left, you see is one of my favorite activities here in Stockholm, which is to bike. Usually I also ride my bike to go to campus, but of course not during the winter like this because it's really cold. But I ride my bike during the summer and spring, and sometimes also in the autumn. It's really lovely to cycle here because the air is so clean and the street is mostly empty. So you don't have to worry about the change being hit by cars. And there are also a lot of, how do you say, bike lanes available here on the street. And top right picture, you see it's me during my final assignments during the pre-sessional English class offered by KTH for 3 weeks before the studies begin. This English class is not all about learning the grammar and English stuff and others, but the main point is to introduce new students about the study culture in Sweden. So you will be given assignments that are either individual or together with your friends, because yes, here in Sweden there are a lot of group work during your study period. And bottom right picture is after the official welcome reception by KTH at Stockholm City Hall. Bjorn has mentioned before that the graduation will be also held in this building, but also not only graduation ceremony, but also the welcome reception by KTH.
Cool. This is from your everyday life, Ivan.
This is from my everyday life. So the first pictures, top left pictures is my room here in Lapis. As the new KTH student, I was offered an accommodation by KTH, and there are two types of accommodations: furnished and unfurnished. Furnished means that you will get one bed, one table, and one chair, while unfurnished means like no bed, no table, and no chair. You just got the room, and you will only get a wardrobe. I think it depends on your luck which accommodation you will get. There are also actually several housing offered by KTH. I live in Lapis, but there are other accommodations such as Teknikringen and Malvinas within KTH main campus. There are also Kungshamra, Skrapan, and I cannot remember the other one. So Lapis is really close to KTH. It's only 2 kilometers. By public transportation, you will have to take a bus and then change the metro, and maybe it will only take about 20-25 minutes. And you can also go by bike, by foot, or by foot maybe only 45 minutes minimum. And bottom left picture is me with my media management friends. There were actually in total 18 students, if I'm not mistaken. And then we have our a program for ourselves at least once in every month or 2 months. Students from different countries has to host for lunch or dinner and introduce their traditional foods or dishes. And this picture was taken during the German lunch. As you can see, one of the hosts holding an iPad with German flag. And this is actually a nice idea to get closer with your friends, especially friends in the same programs. And me and my friends are organizing a Thanksgiving dinner tomorrow. I'm so excited.
Wow.
And the last picture, as I and Bjorn have mentioned about group work, and this is a picture from my group work from last semester, I think, before the Corona came here in Sweden. So yeah, group work is really something here in Sweden. I think in Sweden, not only in KTH, right, Bjorn?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love group work because you can also make new friends during the group work. So I think that's all from my side.
Okay. Brilliant. So we should wrap it up then. Here are some information. I mean, Ivan, you're a very central person when it comes to social media and connecting Sweden to. We can put this. What do you need to attend or acquire? Well, you need a bachelor's degree, right? In science or engineering. English proficiency, this is all available at our webpage. That's important. And there might be specific requirements for each and every program, and you can find them at our homepage. And that there are a number of different scholarships that might be available for you. So check it out. We do have scholarships at KTH, not super many, but we have a few. The Swedish Institute offers also scholarships, and there might be external partners or foundations that do offer scholarships if you would like to come to KTH. Is time's up now, or do you have time for one more slide? Okay.
Yes,
We're done.
we can start our Q&A session, but before that,
Brilliant.
thank you for the informative presentation, Mr. Bjorn and Mr. Ivan. If you have any questions related to KTH or Sweden, please type them down on our YouTube's comment section. Now, the first question. One of our watchers on YouTube is interested to study in Sweden. Uh, how and the person wants to know, how do you select the eligible applicants? Can you give any tips to make the application stand out?
Yeah, I think I have how to apply. Ivan, I mean, you have obviously been chosen to our program. What do you need besides good grade? What do you think is important when it comes to motivational letter and stuff like that?
I think motivation letter is one of the most important things because there you can reasons why you have chosen the program, and also you have the chance to tell about your background, which is maybe related to the program you choose, to KTH.
Yeah, I think that's really good. And also if you have worked, for instance, we have references within the field, and that you have reasonable or sufficient knowledge within the field that you're looking for, that you have taken courses in nanotechnology or whatever before you're applying to a master's program. So the fit between your bachelor degree and the forthcoming master's, I think, is important. You have taken the right classes, so to speak.
Okay. Next one, would it be possible to apply into the master program that's not really fit into the undergraduate?
Yeah, as long as you have the basic requirements, that you have a bachelor's degree in engineering or science and engineering, because the idea with the Bologna system is it should be open, right? Because we have in our program students with kind of diverse background, but then you might have to work harder in the beginning to get to the same level if you have not a perfect fit between what you have taught before and what you're doing at the master's level. I mean, Ivan, did you have a perfect fit between your bachelor degree and the master's program that you're taking?
I think so, because I did print and media technology in my bachelor studies, and now in my master studies, I study media management, so it's media related.
Yeah, you're a straight A student, right?
I hope so.
Okay, thank you for the answer. Next question. I would like to know, how's the city life in KTH and in Stockholm in general? Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, I will try to, and you can fill in. I mean, it's the capital of Sweden, so it's the cultural capital as well. When it comes to everything from theaters, opera, sports, venues, restaurants, what have you not. And in the inner city, because you're probably living in the inner city area, there are different districts for food and beverage. That's where I live, with a lot of restaurants and poets and what have you not. It's easy to get around, and it's with the public transportation is kind of cheap, I would say. And you will get a discount when you're a student. So you can travel and get quite easily all around Stockholm. So I'd say it's fantastic during the summer because it's really bright, I would say. We have the midnight sun where the sun never sets. But I would say, Ivan, it's an acquired taste during the winter because it's getting darker. But hopefully we'll get snow soon and we'll get brighter by then. All right? But now it's challenging times with the darkness before the sun or before the snow has been falling.
Yes. And I want to add something that you have mentioned that Stockholm is the capital city of Sweden. And people might think that capital city, maybe like Jakarta, is really busy, a lot of buildings and stuff, and maybe the pollution and something like that. But although Stockholm is the capital city of Sweden, the city is really, really close to nature. So it's also green city. And if I'm not mistaken, it's awarded as the greenest city by the European Union Commission back then.
And I would also, I have a lot of Singaporean students, and they used to Singapore, obviously, and they claim that Stockholm is a jungle. So it is green. It is green. And also, I would like to add that, Ivan, you're a student, and we do have a lot of student associations depending on your interest. If you're interested in theater, ice hockey, diving. I mean, you can find, if you have spare time, which you do have as a student, you can do a lot of different things on campus or off campus as well, depending on your interest, for instance.
Yes.
Okay, next question. Maybe this one for Mr. Ivan. As a student from Indonesia, did you find any challenges when you moved to Sweden? And if there was, like, how do you cope with them?
That's pretty good questions, actually. Maybe one of the most challenging part is the food, because it's totally different. But it's not here in Stockholm. It's not that hard to find or to cook Indonesian food, because there are several Asian markets, and you can find the ingredients that come directly from Indonesia. So it's not that hard. And also there are so many Indonesian students here, and sometimes we organize like dinner together and lunch together, and we cook also Indonesian food together. So don't worry. Actually, the challenges that you will face here in Stockholm is not that difficult to solve. So just take it easy.
Yeah. Ivan, I went to a really good Indonesian restaurant in Solna a couple of weeks back. You know that?
Yeah. There are also several Indonesian restaurants here in Stockholm.
Yeah,
actually.
Yeah. How was sort of the courses? Was that a challenge for you, or was it the same? I mean, teaching environment or learning environment as in Jakarta?
The teaching, you said?
Yeah, or the structure of the courses with the teamwork. Was that a challenge? Was it?
Not at all. On the other side, even it's better, because it's group work, and the teaching style is not one-way teaching method, but either two-way teaching method. And the teachers are not really teaching, but in my opinion, the teachers are the facilitators.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really great.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'd like to know more about the local language. Do we really have to speak Swedish when you move there?
Yes. No. No. I would say you get along fine with English. I do supervise PhD students, and the majority of PhD students are from other countries than Sweden. If you're working in part-time, you will find that the corporate language, especially among big companies or in startups, is English. The medium of teaching or language to teach is English. So I would say, Ivan, you will get, and most Swedes speak. If you hold the guy on the street, say, how will I get to place this? He will probably could direct you quite easily, because people speak English, right?
Yes, I also can add something about that. Maybe when I first arrived in Stockholm, in Sweden, I didn't really speak Swedish. I only know thank you and also good morning in Swedish. But then I learned Swedish here in KTH, and also the government offered free language course. It's called Swedish for Immigrants, and you can apply for the class for free.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for the informative answers. Unfortunately, we are short on time, and there are many questions related to the programs. Can you tell us the website or the email address that we can approach if our watchers are now in YouTube are interested?
Yes. I think, did we have the, I think I have the backup.
I think you have the slide.
There you go, kth.se/master. There you will find, I think it's really good, a specification and introduction to all programs, the course content, what kind of occupation you will have after the courses. So I think this is kth.se/master. There you'll find requirements, what you're going to do after graduating, what kind of courses, which one is mandatory, and which one is you can choose from, basically.
Okay, I guess that's a wrap. Thank you, Mr. Bjorn and Mr. Ivan, for the great presentation. I hope we can meet again later.
Absolutely. And thanks for listening, everybody. And please come to Stockholm. We need more bright people like Ivan, right?
Nice.
Okay, thank you for watching the first session. And I would like to remind you again, there's going to be a virtual fair this Friday and Saturday. You'll be able to consult directly and ask further questions related to your study. Find the access to event.ehef.id and all the information will be there. We'll be back for the second session. Bye for now.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, so we're going to relocate to the other Zoom room, right?
Correct.